So yesterday was Valentine's Day. Over there in England, rugby league history, it's Valentine's Day over there. But checking my clock, mate, I really hope that you're feeling the love right now, mate, being that it's 6:30 in the morning. Howdy, it's Sam. Welcome to the Wobble and Jaw Sports Channel, a special episode of Ridin the River. If you are new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Finally, the World Club Challenge is back, and I'm looking forward to it greatly. And to help me preview a very much anticipated contest is the one and only rugby league history. Thank you so much for your time, giving up your time all the way over in England, mate. How the hell have you been?
Sound as a pound. Been really good lately, and it's a pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you, man. And just to Faraz Alam, thank you for giving this stream a crack. It's so early in the morning. Thank you for tuning in, mate. Thank you. And everybody, there will be a link in the description box below to go check out Rugby League history on all social media platforms at the conclusion of this stream. So Rugby League history, St. Helens, they're not too bad over the past few years, haven't they?
I have 4 in a row. It's just crazy being a supporter of this club, and it's kind of unprecedented when it comes to the Super League. We've seen some clubs win 3 in a row, 2 in a row, but not 4 in a row.
World Club Challenges, man. What's your take on it? Do you have fond memories of it? And is there a particular game that sticks out to you as maybe being the best of all time?
Uh, I personally like the World Club Challenge. I know that a lot of people have their opinions on it, and some people think it's a waste of time. Some people think it's a daft fixture. Some people say that the English audience cares more about it than the Australian audience. But I personally really like it, and it's something that I've always watched. Of course, St Helens don't have the best record in the World Club Challenge. We're 2 from 5 at the moment. But both of the times that we've won the World Club Challenge, it's been against the odds. And both times that we're against a Brisbane side, when they were back in those days, believe it or not, they were a very good team. I mean, these days are not very good these days, but back then they had, a stacked team 1 through to 17. So um, obviously the 2001, 2007 victories in the World Club Challenge are highlights for me, but I also remember some of the other ones like Wigan in 1994 beating Brisbane, the only English side to come over to Australia and win the World Club Challenge. Um, I remember the 2014 World Club Challenge. I was actually there for Wigan against Sydney Roosters at the SFS.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I was invited. I got free tickets because someone that I was friends with was a member of Sydney Roosters, and they were given about 20 free tickets. So there was a whole heap of us that went out for that. And then I remember some of the other ones, like 2009, Manly defeating Leeds in a very close match. And then you've had some other really close games, like St George and Wigan 2011.
hmm.
So, I mean, and there has been a couple of blowouts, which have included my team. So, getting
And
bat- yeah, getting battered by South.
I reckon I love that you mentioned the 1994 because while it's obviously a game that is hard to find and see highlights of and was before our time, That result, I think, is incredibly important and would have helped impress upon everybody else to continue doing the World Club Challenge when Wigan did defeat Brisbane back at the old ANZ Stadium. And I think if it is it fair to say that maybe the last great or just even very, very good World Club Challenge was in 2013 when Melbourne Storm defeated Leeds, rugby league history?
Yeah, I'd probably say the one that's probably been the closest would have to be that, because besides that we've had a couple of blowouts, and then we've had ones where you could clearly see that one team were better than the other, and they were just waiting to find that killer blow.
And personally, as you would all expect, 2016 when Cowboys defeated Leeds 38-4, that
Yeah.
it's always, I don't know, what's your opinion on this, Dean? Like it's not, in the lead up to it, I found myself thinking, I actually really want to win this game. Like as a fan, it doesn't really dawn upon you until maybe a couple of days prior that, hang on a sec, this team can literally be the best in the world. That this is just when, 7 odd years ago. I don't know, man. Like as a fan, are you feeling that this weekend where you've won 4 years in a row, St. Helens? You really want to win this game, and you mentioned before that your record in World Club Challenges isn't crash hot. So, and since they've been here in Australia, St. Helens, they look like they're on a mission. They look like they really genuinely want to win. So, is that how you're feeling as a fan this weekend?
I without doubt. For me, the World Club Challenge is a really big game because you're playing the best team from the NRL, and vice versa. If you're a Penrith supporter, you're playing the best team from England, and of course you want to win the game, and you can call yourself the undisputed champion of the world if you want to put it that way. So it's a big game, and it's good for St Helens as well. They get to test themselves against a Penrith side that's been the benchmark for two and a bit years. So it's a very big game.
I've always been a fan of the World Club Challenge as well, and then they started buggering around with it. I think it was something like between 2009 or there were a few years there, weren't there? If you can correct me, man, where there wasn't a World Club Challenge. It was sort of just like this tournament of 6 or 8 teams that played overseas. And do you have an opinion on that? And do you remember it? Because, bro, I disliked it a lot, man.
One of my first members of the World Club Challenge, where in 1997, when you had the breakaway competition, the Super League had this massive World Club Challenge where I think they sent pretty much all the Super League clubs over. So North Queensland's, Hunter Mariners, Adelaide Rams, everyone went over to England, and they played pretty much all the Super League sides, and the Australian teams battered the England sides. I think the whole thing coming out of that, I think over here they had a royal commission because it was a failure over here, the World Club, that whole tournament, because even North Queensland were beating the likes of I don't know, like a Warrington 40 points to 10 and stuff like that. And that's back when North Queensland were not a good team. So I remember they had a royal commission about it. The English Rugby League Board had a royal commission. But yeah, that was a crazy tournament, that one. And then it ended up, the final were in New Zealand between Brisbane and Hunter Mariners.
Yeah, it was not chock-a-block either over at old Ericsson Stadium. Only 12,000 people rocked up to that grand final, so that only adds more credence to what you're talking about, that it was not very successful as well. And so just to go into a little bit more history about the game as well. So the highest point scorer in its history is Craig Fitzgibbon. Apologies about the spelling mistake there. 22 points in 2003. The highest attended was that aforementioned contest in 1994. Down at the old ANZ Stadium in Brisbane. The most wins, the Eastern Suburbs or Sydney Roosters with 5, and the most appearances in the World Club Challenges have been Leeds, Wigan, and St Helens. I guess the most successful team of the Super League clubs would be, I suppose, Wigan, I dare tend to suggest. Would you agree with that?
Now they're 4 wins and 4 losses.
Yeah, yeah, dude. All right, then. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get stuck straight into this weekend's contest from Bluebet Stadium, kicking off at 18:50, 6:50 p.m. New South Wales. Check your local guide for listings for the kickoff times. Penrith versus St. Helens. And on tab, I'd love to get your opinion on this, mate. The Penrith Panthers are $1.09 favorites. The line is at 19 and a half. St. Helens are $6.50. So through the team list news now, we'll start with you, Dean. Take us through the team news for St. Helens.
So at fullback, you got Jack Wellesby. The wingers are Tommy Makinson and John Bennison. The centre pairing, Will Operati and Mark Percival. Have pairing standoff, you got Johnny Lomax. Scrum half, you got Lewis Dodds. And then the props, Alex Walmsley, Matt Lees. Hooker, James Roby. And then second rowers, you got Sione Matautia and Kayla Sirinen. And then the loose forwards, Morgan Knowles. And then on the bench there, that's Joey Lussick and number 14, number 15, Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, 17, Ignatius Passy, 18, Jake Wingfield, 19, James Bell, 20, Daniel Norman, 21, Ben Davis, 23, Conrad Hurrell, and then 25, the new lads, T. Ritson.
And for the Penrith Panthers team, Stephen Crichton is in at fullback, not Dylan Edwards, which is a shock to me. The wingers for the Panthers, Taylor May and Brian To'o. Centers are Isaac Tungo and Sunia Taruva. Halves combination, Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. The forward pack, Moses Leota, James Fisher-Harris and Mitch Kenny is the hooker. And the back row, a couple of new signings here. Luke Garner, Zach Hosking, and Isaiah Yeo fill out the back row. And the interchange bench, jersey number 14, a Super League convert of sorts. Jack Cogger, Matt Eisenhuth in 15, Spencer Lenu and Jamin Salmon in 17. And then the rest of the reserves are Lindsay Smith, Kurt Falls, Liam Henry, Tom Jenkins, and Maverick Geyer. The question that I want to ask you is $6.50. Do you think that is way too much disrespect on St. Helens?
Not, I wouldn't say not really, no, because over the last 3 years, I think Penrith have only lost 7 matches in total over 3 years. And even in some of the matches that they have lost, they haven't lost by a lot.
Yep. Yeah. But so looking at the performance of St. Helens last week against the Dragons was competitive. It was competitive for a while there from the Dragons, and I wasn't anticipating it would be. So credit to them, but I never felt like the Dragons were ever in it. To be honest with you, they were never going to win it. Actually, I should say. But this Jack Wellesby, bro, he's just a young fella. He ran for over 200 meters, scored himself a try. And did some other nice things in that contest. Jack Wellesby, mate, what's your opinion on that young man?
Well, he's only, 21, 22. He's already won 3 Super League championships. He's won 1 Challenge Cup, represented England at the World Cup. He's pretty much done most in the game, what some players take years. Some players don't even get to do that in their career. But he's a very special player, and you could tell from very early on. And we're very lucky to have him in our side because he was a Wigan lad, and for whatever reason, Wigan kind of just passed him off, and we managed to sign him. So,
what sort of game plan are you anticipating from St. Helens this weekend, mate? What do you reckon they're going to come out with?
Oh, I think for us, I think it's maybe potentially try to win the forward battle somehow. Maybe Walmsley and Lees and that type of thing will try to put some hits on some of the Penrith players early, know that they're ready to play. I think that the number one thing for us is that we just have to stay in the game and not make any errors and not crumble under the pressure, because Penrith for the last 3 years, they just put you under pressure and they just sweat on that mistake. And then once they get onto you and you make a couple of mistakes, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah. And just quickly, Walmsley, he was the last try scorer in the World Club Challenge. That was back in 2020. And this is the first World Cup Challenge to take place in Australia. Oh, I think it's been since 2018. 2018 was the last time Australia held a World Club Challenge.
Yeah.
But Walmsley last weekend, he had himself quite an effort too, bro. And he's been around a really long time, man. Are you, or is he one of your favorite top three players in St. Helens, Walmsley?
I'd probably say top five, but
Yeah.
I mean, I personally like Johnny Lomax is probably my favourite player, but Alex Walmsley has been a very important part of our team for so long, and uh, unfortunately for him, he missed out on the Super League Grand Final last year. He got injured just before playoffs there, but Ignatius Passy filled in for him all right. But he's coming back from. I think he's had a couple of problems with his knees, so this would have been his first or second hit out since he injured himself. So um, I'm pretty sure he'll be ready to go on the weekend.
No, well, he was ready to go last weekend, mate. He was one of the standout players last weekend with the stats that he made and the way that he played as well. So just on to the Penrith Panthers now. It's the first game since the World Cup for the likes of Nathan Cleary, Jerome Luai, Brian Toto over there in England. What's your opinion been on the Penrith Panthers, not just over the past couple of seasons, but just last year, and the way that that the players like Luai and Cleary have just gotten better and better with each passing year, man?
I think Penrith last year were the best team from start to finish. Um, I don't think that they ever really looked. There was a couple of like brief fleeting moments that maybe they might not go back to back, but certainly I think when it come to finals time, they were just on it. Um, there's a few people that said, "Oh, if someone else would have made the grand final, they would have had a better go at it than Parramatta." But I don't think so. I don't think
No.
that I don't think any team in the world would have beat Penrith the way they were that night. And I think with Nathan Cleary and all them, they're just getting better year after year. Of course, you get a couple of people around Origin time that say when the pressure's really on, Nathan Cleary can't handle it. But I mean, he's won 2 premierships now, so he can certainly handle the grand final arena. So
Yeah, not yet, Nathan Cleary. He's still young enough to do all that in the State of Origin arena, man. Tommy Makinson, I think he's taking on. I think he's on the side of Taylor May. I was going to say, if he's on the wing of Brian Toto, that's a huge blockbuster battle. But the way that Taylor May really exploded onto the scene in 2022 still makes this a really salivating matchup to look forward to. Tommy Makinson, man, he's just about a club legend. Well, he is a club legend, is he not?
he is. He's won what I think 5 Super League championships with us. Played well over 250 matches.
Mm.
He's a very good winger. I remember one year he won the golden shoe for the best player in the world, which was kind of a strange one, but he won it anyway.
Yeah.
But I think at the World Cup when we did play against Samoa on both occasions, I think he was on the other side of the wing. I think it was Dominic Young that was up against Brian Toto. I think by memory, I can't really remember exactly, but I think Dominic Young was on that side.
What I'm looking forward to the most, and I sort of touched on it there, and I'll bring it up, is the back row of the Penrith Panthers, man. The signings of Luke Garner and Zach Hosking. Yeah, Isaiah Yo's in there at captain, who's one of the best players in the game. But Luke Garner coming from the West Tigers, Hosking from the Brisbane Broncos, bro. I'm really looking forward to seeing how those two young men go, because Liam Martin is out of the game with an injury. And Dylan Edwards was a shock to me as well to see that he wasn't there in at fullback. But Stephen Crichton is just as deadly, maybe if not more. Have you been able to see what Luke Garner's been about at the West Tigers, and how do you think he's going to go over there at the Penrith Panthers, man?
I've seen a lot of Luke Garner at West Ham. I remember the last couple of years in a struggling side, I always thought that he was one of their best players. I think he'll fit into Penrith quite easily. I think he'll do really well at Penrith. I've heard some things about Zach Hoskin. I think I might have seen highlights of him somewhere, but I don't know too much about Zach Hoskin.
Yeah, Zach Hosking played a handful of games in his debut season last year and raised the eyebrows of a lot of people, bro. So if you do get the chance to watch it live this weekend, mate, keep an eye out for Zach Hosking, bro. He might be a huge addition to that team. So let's get stuck into the tips, man. What do you reckon is going to happen? Who's going to win? And what do you reckon the final margin is going to be?
Unfortunately, I really want us to win, but I don't see us winning. I probably see Penrith winning by 13 plus. I don't think it'll be 50, 60, 70 points like what some people are seeing on Fox League or NRL. But I think Penrith just they've been the benchmark for nearly 3 years now, and let's not try to kid ourselves. The NRL is a better competition than the Super League, but what I'm hoping is that even if we lose, we put on a good show and we show people out there that yes, the Super League is a good competition and there are some quality players out there, and we put on a bit of a spectacle for the people out at Penrith that go out to watch it. So
I've got myself the Penrith Panthers winning this one 13 plus as well, but I'm with you. It's not going to be an absolute smash up derby. I'm going to go with a scoreline of 28 points to 10. I think that St. Helens can get on the scoreboard a couple of times, dude. And the Penrith Panthers, bro, it's just through I don't know, like bias lenses, I guess, that I do watch Penrith Panthers. I know what they're all about, and just St. Helens, while I know and respect everything that they've done, it's just I really don't watch St. Helens. I really don't know how they do go about their business up until whenever a Super League Grand Final comes about, or up until last weekend. So I'm going to go about 28 points to 10 scoreline because the Penrith Panthers, they're going to be rusty themselves, bro. So it will be close as well. And that was a strong hit out from the St. Helens unit last weekend. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for giving this one a crack. Rugby league history, bro. Thank you so much for your time as well. And the season just a couple of weeks away, and your tipping show goes gangbusters, mate. I'm really looking forward to your content in 2023, bro.
That's no bother. Thanks for supporting my channel, and it's always good to be on the Wobbling Jaw Sports Show.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And if you ever do a bloody stream, my hand is up too, Dean. That's for sure, mate. All right then, guys. Thank you very much for the continuous support. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's sort of like 2-3 years in the making, and I think this is very much highly anticipated for a very good reason. So here's hoping for a good contest. Have a very nice weekend. I'll talk to you all later. Adios.
All right.